Hey you guys, I'm going to start now a Twin Flames talk kind of series. I decided I wanted to start posting videos just chatting about different things having to do with the twin flame journey to help guide you guys through it. I mean, I work with my clients directly, but a lot of people can't do that or just don't even know where to start. So I have learned a lot. I mean, I'm a twin flame coach and reader, so I should hope so. But even just in the last 6 to 9 months leading up to full union, I've learned a lot because of everything that Spirit has pushed me and my twin through. Like really like forcing us to purge a lot and release a lot, even in the last week. So rather than continuing to like save stuff, like jot down to blog about at some point, which I will eventually have time to do, I decided I need to start posting videos just like talking about stuff when it's happening, and or at least, you know, going back and remembering what to teach you guys about. So this is my introductory video. I'm going to do a new one, or I'm going to do a first one right away after this, but these are only 3 minutes long, so I didn't want to talk about both at once. But I also want to ask you to be I can't think of the right word, gracious with me, because long ago when I was a young whippersnapper, I thought I'll always be up on technology. And the day has come where I'm going to be 40 next year and I am not up on technology like I used to be. And I just don't even have the patience to try and figure it out. And you guys can do all this stuff with TikTok and everything that I don't know how to do. And I don't have the patience to try and figure out how to do even editing videos. Like, to me, all I care about is being authentic. I don't care about, you know, if my kid starts talking to me or the animals go nuts, which happens. Like, I think probably in every single video I've ever done, I have to do something for the animals or whatever, or talking to my daughter, whatever. I don't think it matters. I think all that matters is authenticity and that you guys are getting the messages. So please be patient and gracious with me. But hopefully the messages will be what you need, and the rest we can all laugh about together, right? But anyway, so coming up next, I'm going to post my first Twin Flame Talks video for you guys, and I hope that it resonates for you. And please feel free to message me and ask questions that you want me to answer in these videos, and then that gives me something to go on in the future as well. Okay? Hey you guys, first video for Twin Flame Talks, and I want to talk about understanding the divine masculine perspective, because this is something that's really been hitting home for me the last few days. This is something that I'm so frequently coaching clients through or posting advice about online, and it's something that divine feminines tend to really struggle about. Not all, some more than others. If you have a psychological understanding of things, you can understand it better. But so many times I see people saying your twin wouldn't act like that. That's not true. Wounded twins and wounded people in general, they behave in ways that are not true to how they really feel, because they can't help it, because they have these deep inner child wounds that go back sometimes even to past lives that cause them to even self-sabotage at times. It's so very common for divine masculines to have abandonment wounds and avoidant attachment disorder and self-worth wounds that cause them to run. And the reason why they cause them to run, which is not even a conscious thought process all the time, at least not in the beginning, is because they don't feel good enough for their divine feminines. They put their divine feminines on a pedestal, even if they don't tell you that. That's how they view you. And they feel like you will eventually realize that they are not good enough for you, and then you will break their heart if they really allowed you to see the true them and to open up their hearts fully. And this is why they run. They also run because they think that you deserve better, and they're pushing you towards that, and they think that you'll be able to move on, and they think that they'll be able to move on, but then they can't and you can't. But this has really been hitting home for me even more so lately, because my twin, who has not been a runner for a long time, he's been caught up in a complicated karmic situation due to custody of his child, but he has not been a runner for a long time. And the past week, I have felt from him panic attacks from trying to take the last step and fully like open his heart up to me 100%. Like he's probably at like 75%, 80%, maybe even 90%. I'm not 100% sure, but he's so close, and he's trying to take that last step. And I'm feeling like I had a panic attack because he had a panic attack. And it made me have this realization that I needed to talk about, to tell everyone that you don't realize how hard it is for them and how much they have to go through, how much pain they have to heal. Because it's, even though he knows better, that so much fear caught up in what if I get hurt? And you got to try and step back and look at things from their perspective and understand, have compassion and understanding for what they're going through, because it's not easy for them. And Spirit really pushes them through a lot to get them to union. A little bit coming off my last video. I also want to talk about twin flame telepathy real quick, because Lordy, have I been feeling it the last few days, today especially, Sunday and today especially. So, I mean, hopefully you guys realize twin flame telepathy is a thing. Now, it doesn't have to be that you hear their thoughts. It can just be feeling their energy. That has been more so what I've been feeling, and usually what I feel, although there have been a couple of occurrences where it was like Spirit transported me to his mind and I could hear his thoughts and feel his feeling. Can I talk? Feel his feelings at the same time. And it was like the way I felt his emotions, there was no words there, but I understood them because I felt them. So that was a really cool experience, actually, because I could hear his thoughts at the same time as feeling his emotions. Everybody's abilities in that respect vary. You know, everyone is different and your gifts develop differently. So this isn't going to be 100% for everybody, but it's something that will develop over time for you. But do take into consideration that you do pick up your twin flames energy and emotions. And many, many times you can be affected by their energy without even realizing it. Like, I recognize his emotions, and yet still I have days where I don't realize how strongly his energy is affecting me. To use today as an example, I spent almost the entire day like feeling anxiety to the point of feeling nausea. And then throughout the evening crying and releasing fears and anxiety. And then it just turned off like the flip of a switch in the evening because, you know, of a decision that he had made. And even though I knew that it was his energy, that made me really realize it. Like, oh my gosh, I forget how much his own emotions can rule mine at times. So when this is happening, like, you have to really try and take a step back and understand, okay, like, is this my emotion? Is this his emotion or their emotion? Where is it coming from? Is there a reason for it? Usually what you look to, is there a reason for it for yourself? And if there's not, it's theirs. And then you just focus on transmuting it for them. Sometimes you need to feel it in order to help transmute it for them and make it easier for them to process. But you can ask Spirit to help you transmute it. You can ask Spirit to take it away. But try and find constructive ways to handle it and to reground yourself and rebalance yourself. Okay, try not to let it get to you too much, but recognize that it is happening, and even though it can be overwhelming at times. I decided while I was recording the last video that I just wanted to add a little bit of background for me. I mean, it's not like anybody goes to school and studies about twin flames, but I started first with a psychology background. I have a bachelor's and a master's in psychology. I found myself on a twin flame journey 8 years ago, although I didn't know what it was until 2017. So however many years ago that was, I think it's 5. Like, seriously, I can't do math right now. But anyway, I found out at the end of 2017 that there was major spiritual warfare involved in mine, because we were being attacked by a satanic witch, and there was already a demonic entity attachment that went back for 9 lifetimes. And I got through that, as well as a lot more spiritual warfare for 4 years, defeated all of that. And so anyway, once I learned about twin flames, I started learning about them from the different spiritual teachers that I was guided to follow for both Ascension and Twin Flames. But most significantly, the past 2 years since the pandemic started, I would say, I have really, like, even though I already had my own spiritual gifts and I was already doing readings, I've really connected with spirit much more deeply. I was getting to the end of my spiritual warfare battle, so I was less like and more able to function. And by the way, spiritual warfare has to be defeated properly. You cannot just rise above it. One other thing for you. And it can be very dangerous. So don't take anyone seriously who tells you can just rise above it. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. So once I started connecting more directly, I just got to a point where I no longer, I know that spirit guided me to all of the teachers that I needed up to that point in time. And now I connect directly with, honestly, Jesus and Mary Magdalene and certain archangels and ascended masters that are part of my spirit team and spirit guides. I started calling them in anyway. I started with angels, and then I don't even know what the right word is, elevated to Jesus and the reason why is because I know that demons will not stay in his presence. And I know that I could make sure that I was only getting accurate information that way, because lower energy spirits will try to interfere. And then I have learned since then that I have direct personal links and connections to Jesus and Mother Mary, like bloodline and spiritual ancestry. And they were already my spirit guides anyway, with me all the time. And King Solomon is one of my spirit guides and all of this stuff. So those are my spirit guides who I directly go to ask about twin flames and to help you guys. Okay. I'm going to backtrack for a minute to, I think it was the first video that I did talking about the divine masculine perspective. So there was another realization that I had. I talked about my twins' panic attacks and how it made me realize, like, even being in a good state and being in the reunion phase and things growing between us and getting stronger and opening up more, he still was still has been so stuck in a way, processing and healing that's heart chakra wounds and breaking down those walls, that it gave me another realization. So even though I have been, I would say that I've been in the right, surrendered, healed state for a while now, but still the last 9 months or so, I've been frustrated at times because of him needing to do everything the hard way and him needing to do things his way, which was the more difficult way, and sometimes, like the more expensive way or whatever. Just like, I just wanted to shake him and be like, this could be so much easier if you would just, and then insert blank. Let me help. Do things this way, whatever. And when he had the panic attack the other night, and I had the realization of how painful it is for him to break through these final walls that spirit is pushing him through, to completely open up to this unconditional love. I realized that that's why he couldn't do things that way. That's why he had to do things the hard way. That's why he, couldn't do X, Y, and Z, even though I wanted him to, and I couldn't understand why he wasn't at the time. But now I do. Now in hindsight, I understand that it wasn't that he, just needed to do things the hard way. It was that he was not yet emotionally capable of doing things the easier way, because he still needed to continue to heal his heart chakra and sacral chakra in terms of emotional vulnerability and intimacy. So that is another thing that we as divine feminines have to step back and understand sometimes, that we have to be patient and hold space for them and be unconditionally loving and holding space for them to allow them to work through that healing process. And they will. Spirit will push them through that process. It's not an overnight thing. We can't we need to get past this instant gratification thing. Spirit doesn't care about time, and the journey is a time-consuming journey, to be honest. Even when you're doing healing work. So we have to have that understanding and hold space for them while they're working through that healing process and being able to reach the space where they are able to get past those fears. Okay? There is one last thing that I want to talk about in this first batch of videos, and it's about some teachings that I don't know, a percentage of twin flame teachers talk about, and they say that, you know, they focus on how separation is an illusion, and as soon as you can vibrate higher and stay in inner union and all of that stuff, then, you know, your twin flame will come running to you. And I have a real problem with those teachings because separation is not an illusion. Like, yes, you are always connected and together in 5D, but we live in 3D, and you are not imagining the fact that your twin is not with you. And I have a problem with it for that reason, as well as because that is not explaining to people, for one thing, how to raise their vibration. And the majority of people can't stay in 5D 100% of the time. And honestly, like, if that were true, if it was as simple as that, I would have been in union a long time ago, because I raised my vibration, and I've been existing in 5D the majority of the time for quite a while now. But sometimes situations are more complicated. Like for my twin, who hasn't been running for a few years now, for him, he has a complicated situation to extricate himself and his daughter from. So it's not as simple as him just running to me as soon as he's ready. So, I mean, obviously there's, you know, multiple factors, but my point is that it's not as simple as that. Yes, you will get there. Yes, you will reach that point of inner union, and that will help your twin reach their point of inner union, and you will come into divine physical union in the 3D, which is guaranteed for all twin flames, which Spirit has told me myself directly, and it's guaranteed because as twin flames, we are here to assist humanity with ascension. Our souls made that agreement. So twin flame union is guaranteed because our souls agreed to it, and the union is an important part of the process. You're not just supposed to be a twin flame and live your divine mission. You're also supposed to come into union and teach others about unconditional love. But the other thing that's missing here that's important is that we need to understand that the separations are important. They are an important part of the process. The separations, the triggers, the purges, they all serve a purpose in helping to release the inner wounds that are keeping us from inner union. So all of that is happening for a reason and serves a purpose. And you can't go through that process, that transformation, and find inner union when you're together. You have to be in separation to go through that. That's the only way to do it. It's unfortunate, but that's just how it works. I wasn't quite done with that last one. So yeah, if you are in a relationship and in the connection, you get too focused on that and too focused on the dynamics of the connection, and then you're not focusing on the inner work that you need to work on and the inner healing that you need to work through. Spirit, the first and most important part of the twin flame journey is the transformation and healing process, because this is most significantly a major spiritual transformation. So Spirit is pushing us through that first, and that's why we go through things like the dark night of the soul and go through so much pain and struggle in it. And that's what bothers me about those teachings from those other percentage of twin flame guides, because it's like they want to bypass that, and you can't. Like, if you have these deep inner wounds, like, those have to be healed properly. You can't just bypass them. And so the purpose of the separations is, like I said, like, you can't, no one would focus on that inner work if they're in a relationship and connection. You have to spend time in solitude. And that time in solitude, both Spirit brings you through the healing process, whether you consciously choose to, or if Spirit pushes you through it, that's like divine feminine versus divine masculine, or it's the spiritual transformation and awakening, and it's Spirit pushing you through spiritual growth, like your awareness and understanding of things growing and expanding, learning how to use your spiritual gifts, just your crown chakra and third eye chakra openings, basically, like, and all of the different ways that manifests in your life. And it's raising you, that's what raises your vibration from 3D to 4D to 5D. So it's going through that process. I like to call it as, so when during the butterfly metamorphosis, it's the goo stage. Like spirit literally like turns you to goo and forces and reformulates you, restructures you, changes your thought patterns, changes your thinking, raises your awareness, raises your vibration, and you come out of it a brand new person. And that is the first part of the twin flame journey and the most difficult part. And it lasts a while. It takes a while to get through that. But then on the other side of it is the union. You get through that, you become a beautiful butterfly, you start teaching others, you come into union with your twin. Divine feminines always get through it first, and then divine masculines, and then once you guys get through it, then you can come together. You'll have a reunion phase before full union, but then you'll come together, and then you'll become teachers for others and assisting humanity with ascension. And that's how the journey works, and it's the same for everybody. It's just, it doesn't look exactly the same, but it's the same, you know, overall picture. So hopefully that helps. This next topic, I'm not even sure why I want to talk about it right now. Spirit put it in my head, and it seems to be important to spirits to me to talk about. So real quick, I want to talk about everybody who is not a twin flame, who does not get it and does not understand what you're going through. And, you know, most commonly we're talking about our family and our friends who think that we are obsessed and crazy and need to move on, and surely why can't we just move on with our lives? Why can't we find a white knight to sweep us off our feet and, you know, make us happy? Because that exists, right? But also what's really standing out to me that Spirit wants to talk about here is spiritual teachers who don't believe in twin flames. And that is like even more of a pet peeve of mine. Like, I can understand why my family and friends don't get it. And that's okay. I can talk to my twin flame friends or my very small select friends who are open-minded enough and just trust me and listen to me. And I can lean on them. Sorry about the camera work there. My hand started to cramp. But what really like gets me as a pet peeve is spiritual teachers who, and there are very gifted spiritual teachers and healers who tell people that twin flames aren't real and that they're just toxic. And I'm like, no, the fuck they aren't. And I don't care about cursing, by the way, just so you know. I just want to be like, you are not a twin flame, so you don't get it. But that doesn't mean that twin flames aren't real, okay? Some healers have been gifted in their life to not go through the twin flame experience, to have normal soulmate relationships, I would presume. But that is not everybody. Twin flames are very much real, and they are not toxic like narcissists. Twin flames are not narcissists. There's a very big differences between narcissists and twin flames. Twin flames just go through wounded stages where they are not capable of behaving the way that they should. And so they have to work through the healing process in order to come out the other side and become that white knight to some extent. So it just really gets to me, and ignore those people, those spiritual teachers even, who are not saying positive things about twin flames because they don't get it, because they are not twin flames and they don't understand. And you know, all of us know that if we could walk away from the journey, we would. We have tried to. You can't. It's impossible. You cannot break the twin flame connection, and it's not false, and it's not toxic. It's real. We're really experiencing it. But there is a positive outcome. You just have to get through the process and the journey, okay? And hopefully I can help you get there. Okay, I want to talk about surrendering for a minute while it's fresh in my head, because I'm actively working on it, which, just like your intuition is like a muscle that you have to exercise to grow and enhance your spiritual gifts, it's the same with surrendering. And I'm literally realizing this in this moment as I'm saying it, that surrendering is literally something that you have to exercise and practice doing, because it's not as simple as what you think. And that's why I'm doing this video, to explain it to you. So what is surrendering not? Surrendering is not moving on. It is not giving up. What is surrendering? It is functioning in complete trust and faith that everything will be okay, that you are in a neutral energy, having complete faith that everything will be okay, and allowing it to unfold in divine timing. And it's so hard to do. That's why it takes practice. And it's so, if you're like me and you're someone who has to know everything that's going on, and you figure out how to do that because you have psychic gifts and stuff like that, it's really hard to do that because you get caught up in what's going on in the moment, and it's harder to step back. Or if you're not like that and you are able to detach, but maybe you can detach too much. And maybe you're like maybe you, because of no contact or something like that, you're so detached and there's no contact or whatever, and you're struggling to have that faith. And Spirit will literally push you to have blind faith. Even if you know the details and you're looking into the details of what's going on, Spirit will only provide so much 3D validation. So Spirit literally forces you to have blind faith, and literally what you have to do in order to surrender and in order to open up the pathways as much as possible to allow everything to happen how it needs to, you have to mildly detach, I want to say, because it's not completely detached, but it's detached enough that you are okay with whenever it comes together and however it needs to come together. And so that's how you're in neutral energy, because you're okay with all of that. But you are completely in faith and positive that everything will work out and come together, that you will have the happy outcome. That's what you have to do to surrender. So every day, focus on that. Focus on believing in them. And I say something to myself that someone once said to me, and now it sticks in my head. I believe in him. I believe in us. And I just repeat that to myself and focus on staying in that neutral, positive energy. And that's what you need to do in order to surrender. Okay, this one is kind of forcing the Divine Feminines to face some truths here. Sorry to say, but many Divine Feminines are like me and kind of like, I hate to say it like this, controlling in a way. But not in a bad way, but just in a way where like you like to, actually a lot of people are like this. It's not control in a bad way. It's just you want to feel in control of your life and you want to feel in control of what's going on around you. So a lot of us want to be able to do whatever we can to get the Divine Masculine through their side of the process, because we're over here, in limbo waiting. We're in, one of my favorite analogies, we're in the airplane that's stuck in a holding pattern, going around in circles around the airport, waiting for it to land. And the Divine Masculine has to be the one to give the plane permission to land. So we're trying to do whatever we can to help the Divine Masculine be ready to give permission to land. And especially anyone who has gone through spiritual warfare, it's even harder, because when you deal with spiritual warfare, you have to be on top of every single thing, making sure that attacks are being defeated and that you guys are protected and that nothing can happen to cause problems or to hurt either one of you, which is, you could get physical harm or you could get spiritual delays. So especially when you've had spiritual warfare, it's even harder to relinquish that control and allow the Divine Masculine to finish his side of the journey, because you've already spent all of this time like super involved and making sure that everything's okay. But it will reach a point on your journey where you don't have any choice except to relinquish that control and step back and allow your Divine Masculine to get through his side of the process the rest of the way. Because it was like I said in a different video, we can raise our vibration and do our work, but the Divine Masculines do have some work that they have to do themselves also. And so one of the things that you need to do when you're in that state is, when you reach that state, is you can't get in your head and be all focused on, am I going to be alone for the rest of my life? When am I going to have sex again? When am I going to have help again, financially or around the house or whatever? Like you have to let go of those things. Those are 3D conditioning things that are going around in your head that are making you crazy. You have to let that go. And you have to realize that you are okay on your own. You are in inner union you're doing your thing, you're working on your healing, you're working on your independence, and at the same time, Spirit is working on the Divine Masculine to get him through the rest of his healing and to get him to that place where he is emotionally ready for the connection. And you have to just be patient and understanding and hold unconditional loving space for him, and he will get the rest of the way through it. You just have to have faith and trust in it. I need to add to that a message about Divine Feminines facing the truth. It doesn't matter how ready you think you are. Let me just tell you. It does not matter how ready you think you are. I guarantee you, you are not as ready as you think you are. Then the lead up to union, Spirit is going to pull every last wound out, every last struggle, every last 3D conditioning, all of it. Like, you might think that you're ready, but you know, just like healing happens in layers and surrendering happens in layers, like it's the same with this. Like, down to the last minute, Spirit will keep pulling stuff out of you, especially when you're like super, super, super close, as I can attest to right now. The closer you are, the more Spirit has that vice closing and is squeezing out every last little teeny tiny bit. Well, if you are at all still getting frustrated with different things, getting upset about different things, which all goes back to the 3D conditioning, which all goes back to the 3D focus. I want it now, instant gratification, you know, lack of patience, lack of faith, all of that stuff. You are going to expect to be purging, expect to be tested. Spirit was going to test you and is going to squeeze every last bit out. Trust me. And the best way that you can help yourself is to focus on releasing the focus on the 3D and completely surrendering to the process and just releasing all that stuff that affects you in, you know, the real world stuff, and just completely trusting the journey. And, you know, for me in this last push, it's been things that are so deeply buried that I didn't even realize they needed to be worked on. And part of that as well, what that stuff that got so deeply buried is stuff that was caused by my spiritual warfare journey. So the twin flame journey caused it at the same time. So fine. But you know, whatever it is, it's going to be pulled out. For me, it was a crisis of faith type of thing. Like, even though I was so deeply in faith and believing, at the last second, getting down to the last second, I was feeling like, can I really believe in this? Can I really trust this? Is this really happening? Those types of things. And that's because the twin flame journey makes you feel like you're crazy. And you know that it's real, but at the same time, there's very little validation. So, but whatever it may be, that was just mine. Whatever it may be, know that Spirit is going to pull every last little bit out of you. And the best thing you can do is work on it yourself ahead of time. I promise you. Hey, everyone. So I think this is a little bit of an addendum to my surrendering video, but it touches on other things too, like the teachings from the group of twin flame teachers who talk about separation being an illusion. So, like how I said before, part of my problem with that is that it's clearly not an illusion in the 3D. You're not imagining things. And part of my focus is on helping people cope with it in real life and managing the journey and understanding it and finding their way through it. But something that Spirit seems to be emphasizing with me a lot lately, which I think is part of my own process. And, you know, this is how I have learned so much also from going through my own process. Not just from, you know, observing others and downloading messages and all that stuff. And that has been that Spirit really needs us to have complete faith in them. Like, it's not just about having blind faith in the outcome. It's about truly believing in your twin and believing that they will come back to you and that they will get through the healing process. And if you don't believe in them, that, you know, they can pick up on that energy for one, and that can that can delay the process and create blockages emotionally and whatnot. And, you know, when it comes to the laws of manifestation, like we're supposed to stay positive and have, not just stay positive, but even like speak as if it has already happened. So this is what my thought process has been here tonight, kind of like rumbling around in my head. The people who teach about separation being an illusion, like what they're trying to get you to do is to get into a mindset of inner union where you know that this is real, that this is happening, that that you're never separated from your twin, that you are coming back together. You know, I recognize that my process might not help as much with that because I'm dealing with the real world, but we have to deal with the real world first. We have to heal and get through our side of the process first. We can't, you know, pretend like things are not real when they clearly are. But the closer you get to union and the more you're able to surrender, which is a signal that you are healing, that you are, I'm going to have to go into another video because I lost my words here. And there's seconds to go. So just hold that thought, okay? Okay, so picking it up where I left off, what I was getting at is that the more you're able to surrender is more of a sign that you are ready for union. Those are the words I was looking for. Basically, like the more pain you feel that is not so much a reflection on your twin flame and the separation as it is spirit showing you and your own body and soul showing you that you have stuff to heal. So the more pain you're in, the more you need to focus on healing for yourself, healing your deep inner wounds, because you are a long way off from inner union as long as you're feeling so much intense pain. And that even though the pain is triggered by the separation, it's still a reflection of what you need to work on for yourself. So when you're feeling that pain, that's what you want to focus on, your own inner healing process. But the closer you get to surrendering, then the less pain you have, because the reason why you're able to surrender is because you aren't in as much pain anymore. That is a sign that you are ready for inner union, which will lead to 3D union. The 3D union has to happen when your twin also achieves that. And they have work that they have to do themselves to do that. They can't achieve that solely from you achieving that. That's one of the other differences with those other teachers. You can help them by getting into inner union first and holding the energy for them and holding space for them, but they still have work to do also. But anyway, I don't want to dwell on that right now. My point was that you work through your healing process, you achieve surrender, you achieve inner union, and that is when then you need to focus on believing in them. And believing in the outcome. And so it's not just about having complete blind faith in the journey and in the process. It's also about believing in them and believing that they can also get through their healing and they can also achieve inner union, and that they will, not just that they can, but that they will. And that is what helps it to come into fruition. Like if you are experiencing doubts or anything like that, or fears, that energy gets transferred to them also, and it can stall them out. They could be like ready to go and it can stall them out. And I really think that as you are in the lead up to union, spirit is it's like they put you in a vice to squeeze out any last bits of fear and whatnot. You might go through a crisis of faith towards the last minute because spirit is pulling all of that out of you so that you could then focus and believe in them. And that's what spirit needs for you to do. So even though you struggle, you have that complete faith and belief in them that they can do it. Okay, let's go back to basics for a minute real quick because I kind of like jumped right into the middle of things when I started this. What are twin flames? Twin flames, they say, and there is a shaman on here on TikTok who had a really good description of what she saw in meditation on this. But twin flames are when a soul, actually I know this because I've had this conversation with Jesus about this. Jesus and I got into some God conversations. that it's a long story to explain how that happened. I'm going to have to explain that another time because these are only 3 minutes long. But Jesus and I had a conversation about this, and twin flames basically occur when a soul goes through an entire ascension cycle on Earth and decides, I'll return to Earth and help humanity go through another ascension cycle, and in doing so becomes a twin flame. And that the best description of this I've ever heard was from one of the very first twin flame teacher that I discovered when I first heard the term and found out that I was a twin flame. And she said, basically, a soul thinks it's a badass and decides, I'm going to split in two and become two souls and and take on Earth that way. And that's, so you're the one original soul splits into two souls, and you have this constant pull towards each other. And the connection is absolutely, completely, 100% unbreakable. Once you find each other, when you're in separation, it does feel like this impossible ache because you miss the other half of yourself. You miss the other half of your soul. And even though it's cliche in our society, you really do feel whole and complete with that person because they're the other half of your soul. So that's what twin flames are. I like to say, even though they're not the same as soulmates, because soulmates are two different souls, and a soulmate relationship is an easier relationship usually for the most part, and a happier relationship, because it doesn't go through the tumultuous twin flame journey. But I do like to say that twin flames are like the ultimate soulmates because they both soulmates and twin flames are meant to be together. They are the strong soul connections that are meant to be. And with twin flames, they're the ultimate. They're the highest. There's nothing that can surpass twin flames. Twin flames are a spiritual marriage soul contract. Nothing can overcome them. Soulmates cannot override twin flames. Nothing can override twin flames. Once you find your twin flame, you're on a twin flame journey. There's nothing you can do about it. You are meant to go through the ups and downs, but you're also meant to come into union because you are here to assist humanity with ascension, and your soul agreed to that. And that's why soul will overrides free will for twin flames, and our souls made that choice to allow that to be the case for this lifetime. I realized that I posted that video about what are twin flames, and I left out something I would say kind of important. I might have touched on it on one of the videos about, how you can't talk to people who aren't twin flames because they don't understand, and how spiritual teachers who aren't twin flames don't understand, which is really bugging me a lot lately because they're so adamant too. The spiritual teachers, they get so adamant about it, like as if they, because they think they're experts, they think that they are also experts on twin flames, but they're not twin flames, so they're not experts on twin flames and they don't have a fucking clue. And I'm not going to go off on that because that's not why I'm doing this video. Anyway, so what I should have also said, which it's not an important fact, but I do think it's important to say because every single person I know who's a twin flame feels this way. You are not crazy. Trust me when I tell you, you can believe me, you are not crazy. I know that you feel crazy. You feel like, what the fuck is going on? Why can't I let this person go? In fact, this was an important thing. One of the most common ways, if not the most common way, that people realize that they are a twin flame or come into this information is because they feel crazy. And they're like, why can't I let this person go? You've gone into separation, you had that beginning with the person, with your twin, and you've gone into separation and time has passed, whether it's weeks, months, or years. Sometimes it's years, and you still cannot let this person go. You still think about them every single day to the point where it is driving you mad. You're like, why can I not turn off the thoughts about this person? Sometimes, why can't I turn off the telepathy? Why can't I stop feeling their energy? And also the, why can't I move on? Why can't I let this person go? Why can't I meet someone else? Whatever it may be. And it's because they're your twin flame and the connection's unbreakable and your own soul isn't letting you move on. But that is one of the biggest ways that people realize that they have a twin flame and that they're on a twin flame journey. And trust me, you're not crazy. And this is one of the things that everybody else doesn't understand. This is why I say you can't talk to anybody else. Your friends, your family, and spiritual teachers who are not twin flames, they don't understand that. They don't understand going through long periods of time, years even, of not being able to move on and not being able to understand why. So you are not crazy. You are on a twin flame journey, and it is real. It really is actually real. So I hope that helps you. Okay, so like I was saying, soul will overrides free will for twin flames, and I will come at anybody who tries to fight me on it, because this was a theory that I had for a while that Jesus then confirmed to me when I asked him directly, because it was a theory. Because I mean, look at it, and I guarantee you ask any of your friends who are twin flames, if you have any friends who are twin flames. I know a lot of twin flames now because I'm a reader and a coach, and I created a twin flame community. So now I know a whole bunch, and it's the exact same for every single one. Every twin flame that I know has tried to walk away from the journey, has tried to give up and move on, and they can't. It doesn't matter what you do. The connection is completely unbreakable. You cannot walk away. You cannot move on. Even if you force yourself to, you can't turn off the thoughts. You can't turn off the feelings. Sometimes you can't turn off the telepathy either, and the feeling their energy. And that is because soul will overrides free will for twin flames. And that is the case because your souls made that choice before incarnating, not even just in this lifetime, in this ascension cycle, like in all of your lifetimes. Your twin flame might not be incarnated with you in every lifetime, because each lifetime is meant to teach you different lessons before you reach ascension, before you reach enlightenment and ascension. But this ascension cycle on Earth, which is every ascension cycle is 26,000 years, your soul became a twin flame, chose to incarnate on Earth, chose to do so to be of service to humanity, to help the next round of ascension cycles for all souls that exist here, and chose to allow soul will to override free will. And what that means is that you cannot turn off the connection. You cannot break it. You can't, if you try and run from it, your soul just makes that ache hurt even more to bring you back to the journey that you are meant to be on, that you chose to be on. Your 3D might not have chosen it, but your 5D, your higher self, chose it. And everything, all roads lead back to your twin flame. That's just how it works for us. All roads lead back to your twin flame. And Jesus also told me that union is guaranteed for these twin flames, 144,000 who chose this, because of all of the reasons that I just explained. And physical 3D union is the important part of that too. It's not just about the twin flame journey. It's not just about the spiritual awakening. Those are all important parts of it that I'll explain in the next video, but it's not just about that. The physical 3D union is also important because we are here to teach humanity about unconditional love and raise the vibration of the planet, and we do that by coming into full physical 3D union with your twin flame as well. Okay, so you meet your twin flame. You might spend a period of time with them, could be short, could be long, that things are good. The relationship then, it catalyzes your intense transformation and spiritual awakening process for both of you, and you will go into a separation. This is probably the case for 99%. I honestly would not be surprised if it's 99%. Maybe it's not quite that high, but at least in the 90s of all twin flames, because to get through the transformation part, you have to be in separation, which I've talked about in other videos. So the period of time, the phase between when you're in the separation, between that first time of being together and between union. And there can be times that you're together in between in there as well. You can be in separation, you can come back together, go into separation again, come back together, go into separation again, however many times is necessary for both of you to go through the healing and the transformation that you are meant to go through and that you need to go through in order to be ready for union. But that's what I refer to as a twin flame journey, the twin flame roller coaster. And that is the first part of the journey and the most important, no, I'm not going to say the most important, but a very important part of the process. And it's a very important part of the process because that is what completely transforms you. That's your metamorphosis, okay? That is healing all of those deep inner wounds, healing spiritual warfare, healing past life issues, healing generational curses, healing all of that stuff. That is literally spirit pushing you through the spiritual birth canal and rebirthing you into a brand new person. That is shedding 3D conditioning, shedding expectations and 3D thought processes of like what life is supposed to be like, what relationships are supposed to be like, that all of that comes from family, friends, not family, friends, family, culture, religion, society conditioning. It's shedding all of that, forcing realizations that none of that is true or accurate. That's just what we're taught by society, but we're spirits, souls living a human life. And we're talking about shifting from 3D thinking to 5D thinking to soul level thinking. This is integrating your higher self with your human and becoming who you are truly meant to be from a soul level. So that's what this entire process is about. That's why it takes years. That's why it takes time. And that's why it's so painful. Like, it's painful because you're being pushed through a birth canal, your own birth canal. And it's all about shedding everything that you were taught your entire life and becoming who you're truly meant to be at a soul level. It's shifting your thoughts, shifting and reformatting your brain and your thought patterns and all of that stuff. So that is the first part before union. Union is the last part, and also a very significant part because it's important for helping ascension. Okay, for some people on the twin flame roller coaster section of the journey, they are also going to go through a dark night of the soul. And actually, let me real quickly explain. A dark night of the soul is a longer period of time. It is not a short thing. Short periods of time that you feel like that are purges or triggers that spirit does to you intentionally to force you to release negative energy that has built up inside of you. Purges and triggers, those might be a day, a few days, probably like a week tops. A dark night of the soul is going to last for weeks or months, okay? So there's a difference there. Just because some people I will say, I went through a dark night of the soul last night. No. A dark night of the soul is a long period of time, okay? Now, like I was saying, some divine feminines and some divine masculines, usually more so on the divine masculine side, not as much on the divine feminine side. Not all divine feminines need it, but many will go through a dark night of the soul. And that is like a very long, dark period in your life where you are being forced through major spiritual lessons. It's, you commonly would be depressed during this because you're facing your inner demons. You're facing your inner demons and your deepest, darkest wounds, going through major shadow work, being forced through it, especially on the divine masculine side, being forced through major shadow work and healing. Just kind of, it's like you're being broken. And I actually mentioned this before too. Spirit puts us in a vice and keeps tightening it. And that is forcing us through this intense healing process, forcing us to release wounds, forcing us to release fears and doubts, forcing us to release negativity, and forcing us through this metamorphosis and this spiritual birth canal, and turning us to goo on the butterfly metamorphosis process. Like, these are different analogies that I like to use, but its spirit is forcing us through that, and that's what the dark night of the soul is. And if someone's going through that, it's for a reason, because they have a lot to heal and get through. But it's also, the reason why they're going through that is because it's also like an accelerated version of what they, no. It's pushing them through everything faster. I couldn't say it right, but it's an accelerated healing. So it still might take some time, but it's not going to take decades. Instead, it's going to take maybe a few years, maybe several months, or whatever it may be, depending on how bad it is. So some will go through a dark night of the soul as needed. And the triggers and purges that are shorter and more temporary, those are to release any negative energy that gets pent up along the way. Okay, but it is very important once you get through that to stay as positive as possible and to stay in belief and blind faith and trust in everything coming together afterwards. Positivity is very important on this journey. Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying my Twin Flame talk so far. I really hope that I can reach and help as many people struggling on this crazy, insane journey as possible. Please feel free to share with anyone that you might know who can definitely benefit from this. I mean, it's years of experience that taught me all this and communicating with spirit, and I'm just trying to help others get through it as well. But I wanted to mention to you, since it's the beginning of the month, I do offer monthly services, I guess you can say, to for anyone who wants to work with me more personally. In Patreon, I have different tiers of group memberships that offer, actually, the one thing that I think is really awesome is Spirit has been designing for my VIP group their own collective reading geared towards those people. That it's like Spirit designs a brand new spread each month and is encoding in it special light codes for them, both visually and audibly. And I know this because of the literal physical reactions that people are having to it. So that I think is really awesome that Spirit is doing that. And then there are also, if I can talk, monthly calls for like pulling cards for questions that you have, or doing like coaching type questions, or healing, or both, or they're combined in some capacity. And then if you want to work one-on-one with me, I do have some open mentorship positions that each month you get a twin flame reading, and you get 2 coaching calls and 2 healing sessions as well. And then if you don't want to do anything monthly, I have my Etsy shop, which I have a lot of different reading options in there. I mean, I have multiple twin flame options plus other types of readings as well. I have multiple twin flame options because it drives me crazy, these readers who charge, like they have one option and it's like $100. And I just feel like so many people are struggling on this journey and they need genuine help. And I try and make it as affordable as possible. And that's why I give options. And then in addition to that, I should say, I have a spiritual health checkup to look into, to have like, get direct messages basically from your angels saying if there's anything that you need to heal or fix to clear obstacles out of the way, or direct messages from your higher selves. I have cord cutting that honestly, like Spirit kind of like threw that at me. Like that happened through the grapevine, and Spirit was like, hey, you can do this, start doing this for people. And I'm hearing amazing results. So that's cool. I have manifestation candles that are all like super pure ingredients and charged with Reiki, and lots of other options. So go to the links in my bio and you can see what I have to offer. I hope I can help. Hi everyone. I know I need to do some more recording for my Twin Flame Talks. And don't forget, you can send me questions that you have or post questions in the comments as well. I do have a small list to catch up with. This week was a little tough for me. Spirit put me through my own tests and triggers. Of course, all the fun on the Twin Flame journey, right? I just wanted to pop on real quick because I'm really seeing a lot of people struggling right now. It seems like the May eclipse gateway and Mercury retrograde, and even then the new moon and the, oh my gosh, there was something else that I can't even remember what now. It all had a huge effect on everybody. It really brought up a lot to be released, and that was the purpose of all of it, to bring up wounds and things that need to be released, triggers and whatnot. And I can definitely see that people are feeling it, and people are really struggling right now. And I'm seeing a lot of people, honestly, I feel like they are even at the very least needing to take a break from the journey, let alone, if not, they're trying to give up entirely and move on. I mean, I can tell you that the Twin Flame journey is not something that you get to move on from, that you get to leave behind. Spirit just doesn't even let us. Our own souls doesn't let us. But this is also something that everybody goes through at different points of time. Like the Divine Feminines in particular, since they take the lead on the journey and they are more aware of the connection, they always want it to go, you know, faster. They always are anxious for union and they want it to come, you know, as soon as possible. But from my experience and observation, like the Twin Flame journey is a process that takes years. It takes time. There's just no way around that. The amount of transformation and healing that has to occur in the Divine Masculines and in the Divine Feminines as well, it's just not something that happens that quickly. It doesn't happen overnight. So it is a process that requires patience. And even the Divine Feminines go through these periods of trying to walk away, or taking a break from the journey to focus on themselves, or to see if it's possible to move on. And this is natural and normal. And even when someone like me is telling you you can't give up, I do realize that this is something that some people need to go through sometimes, because it's going to reinforce the significance of the connection and how unbreakable it is. And you're going to end up coming back to it, having a greater understanding of that, and ready to put in some more of the hard work, unfortunately. And it sucks, and it is cruel sometimes. It really is. But that's just what this is like, unfortunately. So I hope you guys are doing okay. Hello again. I just had a thought I wanted to mention real quick. These Twin Flame Talk videos, these are meant to help everybody who is, probably the bulk of you are going to be in the middle of the journey somewhere. And some of you will be in the beginning, who are just now learning about twin flames and discovering that you have a twin flame. And it's actually, there's a lot of people now, because the term twin flames is becoming more well known. There's a lot of people who are hearing it and thinking, oh, this is like a soulmate, I want to find my twin flame. So people are more aware of it before they even meet their twin flame, and they're out looking for their twin flame, which I'm gonna do a entirely different video about that. But like, I didn't know about twin flames before I discovered that I was in a twin flame relationship and journey, but a lot of people now do. So anyway, point being, a lot of you might be in the beginning, know about a twin flame before you even meet, and you're in the middle. I am first wave, and I am like on the cusp of union, like literally any time now. And it's really like, my twin and I are in a good place, and it's just about logistics at this point for things that he's dealing with and juggling all at once, which is a lot for him, but that's not the point of this. I just wanted to throw this out there and let you guys know, like, I've been through it. I was guided through the process of becoming like a healer and a teacher for twin flames as well. And well, my videos are speaking from experience to help those of you who are still in the trenches. And there's a lot of you in the trenches, because I'm first wave, and I have a Instagram post about the waves, and I will talk about this more in a video. I have a lot of channeled messages in that. I'm going to have to pull it up and read it for you guys in one of these videos. But I want to say that Jesus told me there's 7 waves, but I think that the 7th wave hasn't even met yet. So I'll have to read that post for you guys, but I'll talk more about the waves. But like I was saying, I'm in the first wave, and the first wave is like literally like, this is their year. There's going to be a lot of unions for first wave this year, and there can be unions for other waves as well, for people in other waves. But you know, it's not like set in stone, but I'm just saying, like, we're the front runners. So I've been through it. I'm right there, like at the finish line, and everything that I'm talking about is speaking from experience and speaking from, well, or spirit speaking through me, I should say, to help all of you. So so that's where I'm at, and that's where you guys are at, and I hope that this is helping you. And like I have said before, feel free to reach out and let me know any questions that you have that I can post about on here, or blog about, or all of the above. And check out all of my social media and whatnot so you can find everything. Okay. Hello again. I had something just pop into my head right now, and immediately felt like I need to talk about it too. There's been some people posting comments on my first video from today, and some of my others. And it was in something that I said in that video too, that I think that Spirit wants me to elaborate on. I said that the journey is cruel sometimes. And the comments that people have been making have been that, you know, it can be so intensely painful and seem like, for what purpose? Because it can be hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and even believe that union is possible. This is going to be, I guess, a little bit of a tough pill to swallow, because it does feel like cruel and unusual punishment at times. But the thing that we need to understand about life, not just the twin flame journey, but about life, is that, and this is one of the things that I've learned over the course of this journey, because this is directly connected to ascension. And what I've learned is that Earth is a teaching planet. It's a schooling planet. Souls come here for the purpose of soul growth, and it's a K through 12 planet. You have to get through every grade level before you graduate and get to move on to higher levels, higher dimensions, heaven, wherever that may be, which is really just higher dimensions and other places, other planets, other spiritual realms. But we come here, our souls come here to learn certain lessons. And the purpose of living on earth is not to have a blissfully happy life. It is to learn the necessary soul lessons. And that is why our lives can be so painful and difficult sometimes. Yeah, there might be some people who have it easy, but they're in their earlier lifetimes. They're not in their graduating lifetimes. Twin flames are here to assist with ascension, and we are in our graduating lifetime for those who are coming into union. Well, this is the graduating lifetime because this is the end of the ascension cycle. And the reason why the twin flame journey is so painful and hard is because we are being pushed through our final lessons in order to graduate, in order to move on from Earth and move into higher and better, more blissful dimensions. And coming into union is part of that. And it is, I've been told directly from Jesus, guaranteed. But the twin flame journey process is painful for that reason. And it is outright cruel for that reason, because of the lessons that we are forced through and pushed through by spirit. The dark nights of the soul, the triggers, the purges, the pain of separation. This is all the purpose behind that. It feels horrible going through it, and we can't understand it from a 3D perspective, but as you get through the spiritual awakening process, you will understand it better from the 5D perspective, and you will get to that point of coming into union and finally getting to be happy.